Hey, stop what you're doing. First and foremost, you need to like. Oh no, before you like, you need to subscribe to this channel where we come every week with some heated discussions. So this week we got a fire one. We got something that's been, in the news wave. People talking about it, but we just gotta touch on it to give our perspective. So tune in. Hey, subscribe, like this video, and share at least with 3 people. And we're gonna get to it. And at the end, we want to know how you feel about this one. Because this one, we're going to touch some people. Yeah. We are tuned in to another discussion with the MR.NOLDS organization. Hey man, shout out to everyone who came to the block party, the Canaan block party last week. We had a great time. Shout out to everyone who came and all the performers. Shout out to the brand. Shout out to FCC Studios. Just shout out, shout out to Stein, of course. Shout out to Focal for holding it down when it comes to the production. It was a great night. Hope to see you guys at the next block party. Sir. God willing, in June we will be back with another one. But today we're gonna talk a little bit about something that's in the headlines. I'm gonna get to it because I don't want to butcher no name or stuff like that. But it was a transgender swimmer. They're the first swimmer or the first transgender athlete, openly transgender athlete, to win. They won. Let me see. They're a swimmer. They're the first openly transgender in the NCAA division swimmer. He is also the first publicly documented NCAA Division I transgender man to compete as a man in any sport. So that is what we're going to talk a little bit about today. We're going to talk about Skylar Byler. Excuse me if I'm butchering the name, but we're not going to really make the conversation just about him. We're not. We're going to basically, we're going to talk about it from how do we feel? Like, what do we think of that situation? Especially being faith-based, I know a lot of people want to know, how do you feel about that? Now, we have Stein with us today. He gonna tap in. First and foremost, like that situation, when I first heard about it or when I first saw it, I'm like, where's the fairness? So that's the first thing that comes to mind is fairness. Forget about religion, forget about opinion, like whether you like the person or not. Forget about all that. But we gotta think, is it fair? So if me as a man decide, okay, well, I don't want to use myself as an example. Let's say if a man decide they want to be known as a transgender, they want to convert their sex, is it fair that they should compete against women who have the body of a woman, the structure of a woman, but even though you decide to be a trans, you still possess the strength. You still possess the body. You still possess the things that comes with being a man. And those things that comes with being a man makes you genetically have an upper hand, especially when it comes to strength, speed, and so forth. So I think it's not fair that for that to happen. What do you think about that situation?
It's not fair at all. Like, watching the video, bro, it's not fair at all. Like, seeing how he raced, I watched the podcast and it showed like how he raced, and of course, like, the funny thing is, even though it showed how he raced, it showed what was it? It was a slow time. He just beat them by mere seconds. So they inside the podcast they were speaking and they were saying that he most likely just held back. He wasn't overexerting himself. It is. In the podcast, it showed a video of him practicing, and he did it quickly, and he overlapped people by far more. He did far greater.
Oh, so he did it in a better time when he was practicing.
Yeah.
But during the actual race,
yeah,
like he didn't go as hard because he didn't want to show the dominance.
Yeah.
Man, like I said, outside of everything we can say, we know, okay, if we're gonna go on a religious route, we already know like what the Bible has to say about that. But outside of all of that, let's say even somebody who don't believe, who's not religious, like I'm thinking from that aspect of like, man, this is not even fair. Like, if whatever your makeup is, not what you decide or what you think you are, because nowadays you are what you think you are. So if somebody think they're a monkey, like people like accept them for being a monkey. If somebody think they're a chicken, accept them for being a chicken. But okay, I don't have a problem with you choosing to be a chicken, a donkey, whatever you want to choose to be. But you gotta know, when you are among other human beings, we can't, because you decide to be a chicken, we can't act like, you transform into a chicken. You may believe you're a chicken, but you're not physically a chicken. You're not mentally a chicken. Even if you start clucking everywhere or cock-a-doodle-dooing, you still a human being. So you decide whatever you think you are, right? But when you do decide that, don't think because you decide that now, okay, you're not going to basically be held to the rules of a human being. Because it just wouldn't be fair. So it's like somebody wake up and say, man, today I think I'm going to be a dog. I think I'm a dog. And they become a dog, and then they do something, let's say, I don't know, they decided to get drunk and drive. And then they get pulled over, and they're like, yo, I'm a dog. I shouldn't be arrested. It's things like that. I know I'm going a little too off a little bit, because it's one thing to think you're an animal and then one thing to think like you're another sex. But I just wanted to basically connect the two ideas, because just because a man thinks he's a woman, is it fair that now, because he thinks he's a woman, that he should be held accountable as a woman? Because he still possesses the body of a man, the mind of a man, the makeup of a man. No matter how more feminine, no matter how much estrogen and other stuff that they may take or do, you still have the body, the makeup of a man. So is it fair that I shall hold you now? You have the makeup of a man, but I'm holding you to the standard of a woman. I don't think that's fair. So we're taking religion out of this. We're taking our feelings and what we like out of this. We're looking at it from a standpoint of just, is it fair? Like I said, you see, when he was practicing, there's proof. Man, that man was going crazy. He was Michael Phelps out there. But he realized that he's so, physically a woman cannot compete with a man. Those who have not yet accepted that idea, please look into it. a man naturally is stronger, faster than a woman because of how we were made, genetically how we were made. So he knows that. Even though he's considered to be a transgender, he knows that. So it is absolutely not fair that because someone decides to want to like change their sex or change their label, that now they're gonna be treated to whatever they changed it to, because now it's not fair for that sex. Is it fair to all the women who work as hard or harder than him to compete? But then because he's a man, so no matter how hard they may practice, they may never be able to beat that man. Because him, he probably don't need to do as much work to beat a woman. So it is just not fair. What else you have? Like, what else you want to add to this? Like, because it's something like, I feel like America being so open, like I said, like we all just want to accept everybody for who they are. We don't want to like be judgmental. We don't want to hurt no feelings. And now it seems like we don't know what the heck we're doing. We're in a society. It's like we don't want to hold standards. We don't want to hold rules, laws, because we don't want to make people feel some type of way. So what else do this topic, or when you saw this, like what did you think about it, or how did it make you feel?
It completely. It just felt, the whole situation felt dumb because they made the situation themselves.
Yeah.
And if you want to make something new, then you have to make something new to just go against it.
Yeah.
If you want to the transgenders, if they want to become their own thing, and they have to have their own thing, like their own type of race, so they can be by themselves.
Yeah.
Because if they go against
they'll be their own sex.
Yeah.
Not race, but their own sex. So they want to compete against men. They'll compete against
themselves.
Yeah. So if you're a transgender woman, you'll compete against transgender women. If you're a transgender man, you'll compete against transgender men. Yeah, I totally agree with that. And you see with this transgender and this, gay, bisexual, all that stuff, it's bringing so much confusion, because now it's like, okay, so much things have to change, because you can't just, we're accepting everybody, and there's no thing to regulate how everybody's gonna move. Even one of the things, the bathrooms. Okay, how comfortable, right, would a woman be using a public bathroom with a transgender man? Like, I imagine if I was a woman, that would make me feel uncomfortable. Even though I know, they probably not gonna do nothing to me, all that stuff. But it's like, it's not normal. So for that change to happen, it will be such a lot of people. How do I know? So now, how am I gonna know who's a transgender or not? So let's say a transgender man walk into a woman's bathroom. Like, how are we gonna know if that's not just a man? That's not a transgender man. We won't know if he's a transgender man or a regular man just trying to be creepy and going into the women's bathroom. Like, how will we know these things? Like I said, we're not coming at this in a religious perspective. We're just throwing food for thought. Because as we move forward into this society that we're in, this society that wants to embrace everybody, embrace all opinions and all that stuff, we have to be careful. We have to really be careful, because then whenever new ideas are embraced, just understand that it's going to come with new problems. Yeah, there's going to be new problems. And with these new problems, we're going to have to find a way to how we fix this? We got a bunch of men that's going into the women's bathroom thinking that they're trans, but they're really not. And then, so now how that we bring another problem onto ourselves. And so forth. And like this. How about now? I was just thinking about it when I saw this. I'm like, Joanna Man. I don't know. For those out there who knows about I think the movie is called Joanna Man. It was it was a movie about a basketball player. I think he was in the NBA. He was in the NBA. Then I think he got hurt or something happened to him. Then he became a woman. Like, he put the wig and fake breasts and all that stuff. And then he went into the NBA. It was called Joanna Man. It's a good movie. It's a good movie from the throwback. So he got into the WNBA and he was just balling on He was balling on everybody. So this is what we can come to. Imagine like the NBA say, now we're accepting transgenders. So now, bruh, the men who couldn't make it, because whenever you're gonna have unethical people. We have unethical people in this world. So you're gonna have dudes that couldn't make it to the NBA. They said, what? I could definitely go crazy in the WNBA. So all they do, they label themselves a transgender. What you gonna tell them? They're not? And then they start going to they start trying out for the NBA, start trying out for college teams. What you gonna do? Now if you go against them and be like, oh no, you can't do that, what are they gonna say? You're being what, sexist, you're being prejudiced, whatever labels that. And then now you're gonna hear people going to court, this and this and that. Oh, transgender was not able to play. We gotta think all this, man. We gotta pray. There's a reason why God established certain things. A man to be a man, a woman to be a woman. Like he didn't establish in between, or that's because God is not a God of confusion. I want to say that as we wrap it up. God is not a God of confusion. He's not a God of confusion. You'll see throughout the Bible, you'll see like God is a God of order. God is the same God today is the same God yesterday, 10 years ago, 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago. He's the same today as yesterday. He's a God that remains the same. He's a faithful God. He's not into like not knowing. Let me change my mind. I don't want to do this. Yeah, maybe did it. No. But we as humans, because we're of the imperfection of the sin, we a lot of time bring into a lot of confusion, a lot of chaos into what God has already created. So that's why now when we have these things, a lot of problems are going to start to arise. But overall, like I said, we live in the United States of America. People have freedom to do what they feel like, to speak how they want to. It is their choice. But with these choices, we have to be able to regulate how people do things. Because if we just leave everything open, we're going to be in a jungle. Yeah, whether you agree, whether you're a believer, whether you're an atheist. Now, when certain things, no matter what side you're on, these decisions that's being made, we all will be affected. So if these things aren't going to happen, as they happen, we have to be able to regulate them. Transgender sports. If you're a transgender male, you got to play with transgender males. Transgender female, you got to play with transgender female. Same thing with the bathrooms. If you're a transgender female, you have to be in that transgender female or male bathroom. So we can protect those who are, let's say, hey, me, I'm straight. We want to make everyone feel comfortable, but it don't seem like that. Because then now we're making people who are not going that route uncomfortable. So let's be fair. And if we're going to talk about equality, it's not equality only for them. What about equality for people who don't feel or share their beliefs or what they're doing? You have anything to wrap it up?
Not really, you said it.
Yeah. Well, this was another discussion at the MR.NOLDS organization. It is a wrap. We will be back with another discussion at the MR.NOLDS organization. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. What is your opinion on transgenders competing against, like, you know, a transgender male competing against against regular females? What are your opinion on the whole aspects and views of that? We out.